So this is the Big Friendly Swim podcast, where I try and talk to as many people in the swimming world as I can and learn from them and share my love for the sport. For those who might not know you or may not have heard your name before, can you detail your history within the sport of swimming and like the events that led you to coaching at Indiana University?
Well, I started swimming in the early 1970s. My sister loved it, and I was 4 years old. My parents brought me along with her. She was 2 years older than me, and my mother really didn't want to go any other place with me. So she was like, "Can he try out for the team?" And you had to swim 25 yards, and I don't even know if I knew how to swim. So. I like swam like this, like coming, almost going to stop and come over here. And apparently I made it across the pool. So they put me on the team. And I was like, how did this happen? Like I was sort of an accidental tourist in the sport of swimming. And like when I was younger, I did not like it. I wanted to be playing with my friends and, doing other things. So my older sister reminds me that I was sort of an embarrassment to her. I'd get kicked out all the time and take a garden hose and put it over my hair before I walked into our home to act like I'd had a practice and then I even stopped swimming for a while until I got to high school. But then I played water polo and got did high school swimming for a couple of years and then returned to USA swimming after that. And then I swam at University of Southern California, and then I swam 2 years as a professional at Texas. And I think when I was at Texas swimming with Eddie Reese, that I looked at his lifestyle and I was like, wow, that's like really cool. Like he enjoys coaching. And I love collegiate swimming and just that interaction with college kids. And so I decided to give up a career in law and be a swim coach. And I told myself, I'll just do this on a year-to-year basis. And that was 31 years ago. So I'm still going on a year-to-year basis, but that's like in a nutshell.
Is law still the fallback option?
That ship may have sailed. I do like it, but I have a lot of other interests beyond swimming, and I have a lot of swimmers that like to talk about different stuff. So, but I guess that's probably in the rearview mirror.
So I wrote down a lot of questions related to different sets that I was able to find online written by you. And one in particular stuck out to me. It was, you did it with like Swim, a video that you did with them, going through a blue set from like John Urbanchek's Color Wheel.
Yep.
So I'm curious if you can walk through both your understanding of like that color wheel and how you've applied it to sets at Indiana.
So John Urbanchek's system, it's kind of an old school way to train, and it's based on heart rate. And there's heart rate zones that correlate to certain colors. And but the main thing with his system is you have to do a test to determine what these paces are going to be for white or pink or red. And we do the 2000 for time test, but there's other ways to do it. Like you could do 10 twos or 10 threes, like, resting 20 seconds, but we do the 2000 for time. And what I've found is that, if you do that every 6 weeks and you follow those chart times, and, when the kids are in practice, if they achieve like 90% of their goal times each time, that's a work. And it remains a work. And his system really works for long course swimming. It's also good for short course, but long course, it's long. you have to be fit. You can't do some of this stuff that's popular now that even we do, where it's a lot of underwater kicking or lower volume quality kind of all the time. So it's just a system that really is very reliable, and it still works. It's just not as popular as it once was. I mean, there used to be a time when everybody really was following this system, but it's a system that I would caution people not to discount or throw away. It's very accurate. You want something that works in conditioning your athletes, use the Urbancheck system.
It's a system that I've been trying to get my coach to use as well.
Yeah.
So
Give me 1 second.
yeah, no worries.
I'm just doing a little interview here. This is for Annie and Lily. And Grace, what do you need?
Usually I'm red IM.
There's yours. I'll be out in a little bit.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, girls.
Right. What's your time limit, just so I know not to keep you longer than...
They're gonna start warming up, so I think I'm okay.
Okay. So good segue. Good segue considering some athletes just walked in because I was about to ask a question.
Yeah.
At Indiana, I've noticed you guys have a lot of really good breaststrokers.
Yeah.
Like, especially over the past decade, you guys have built almost like a dynasty of like every year consistently having world-class breaststrokers. So I'm curious, beyond obviously a very good coaching staff, what do you think has been like the main thing that's led to this, if you can even put it into words?
Yeah, I can. Before this breaststroke period of time, I was known as a backstroke coach. So I just think that sometimes like one athlete can kind of lead to others. And so, we got Cody Miller around 2009, 2010. And then in 2014, when he won the national title, and went 59 for the first time, that sort of gave us a little bit of a platform to, attract other people. And I know Lily, that was part of the reason she came here, and then just one led to another, really. And so we've been blessed with some really good talent, and we have a great system. Ahmed, it works with women, it works with men, it works with walk-ons, it works with full scholarship people, it works with world record holders, American record holders, international, domestic, and that's kind of what it boils down to. And I started it in 2012, and it's changed a little bit, but it dates back to a guy that at your age you probably haven't heard of. His name was Mike Barrowman, and he won the gold medal in the 1992 Olympics. And his coach was a Hungarian by the name of Josef Nagy, and they would do what we do twice a week, they did like every day. So, which is probably too much, because we do these breaststroke specialty practices twice a week, and they're really hard. Very you got to really step it up. Like you're racing every part of the workout. And I saw him in 2017 in Budapest when Lily broke the world record. And I go, hey, I use a form of your system. And he goes, how do you get them to do it? He goes, I cannot get them to do it anymore. And I'm like, well, we just do it twice a week. So, because I tried it 3 times a week, and that appeared to be entering into the land of diminishing returns. So, but it's sort of a Hungarian breaststroke system.
I think that's pretty cool. It shows how much coaches are able to take stuff that other great coaches have made and used in the past very successfully, and then apply it in either different ways or slightly unique ways for their purposes.
You can learn a lot from the past. I think any coach would be lying to your face if they said they weren't influenced by others before them. There's very few people kind of doing something unique or original. We borrow from each other, and now in this age of the internet and of Zoom calls and stuff, things can be shared pretty regularly. Like you're able to watch my practices on Cody's vlogs, for example.
Oh, I think for me as a coach, I've definitely been influenced by external sources.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of my coaching style is very much similar to my old coach.
Yeah.
Um,
It's fair. It's not a bad way to go about it. Who was your coach?
his name is Alex Hamza. He was a club coach. My current coach now is Jason Craighead.
Yeah, I've heard of him. And you're in Southern California, correct?
I'm in Central California. I'm in Livermore.
Livermore.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm from Belmont, which is across the San Francisco Bay.
Okay.
Yes, right near San Mateo, if you've heard of that.
I haven't heard of Belmont specifically, but I know the area you're talking about.
Yeah, it's where the Oracle headquarters is. Right near. Yeah, it's on the peninsula, south of San Francisco. So we're actually from the same area.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we were talking about Mike Berriman, and I want to go back a couple of decades and talk about your own swimming career and your own experiences swimming on the U.S. national team. So you competed on the national team, and you actually competed internationally for the U.S. at the Pan American Games. So I'm curious what your experiences at the Pan American Games and at Olympic trials, how that impacted you as a coach, and how that led to your decision to become a coach later on.
It really led. It's probably one of the primary reasons. The ability to get to represent your country. And I got to do that at Goodwill Games in 1990 and then Pan American Games in 1991. I got to go to Australia for a meet in between those two. And just representing your country is like amazing. Like when they send you that box of USA gear, I just never thought that would happen to me. And when I came to the end of my career and I physically, talent-wise, wasn't good enough to make the Olympic team, I was like, well, maybe I can contribute from a coaching perspective. And I had because of my experiences, I had a really good picture of like what I wanted to provide my athletes. Some things I did not get myself, like technique. I really didn't get to do stroke drills or never got filmed. And so like we film people throughout our practice. It's like, in a live delayed fashion. So I wanted to give innovation, to my swimmers where they were like, hey, thinking, building confidence. I'm doing things that nobody else is doing. And I know I'm better prepared. I wanted to give that.
I think that's a pretty cool and unique perspective to have going in as a coach. Because I obviously haven't had those experiences of, competing on the U.S. national team, but I think it's a pretty cool perspective to have as a coach. Yeah. So obviously coaching went well. You were named to if memory serves, you were named as an assistant women's coach on the 2016 Olympic team, and then I think you were a head coach on the delayed Olympic team in 2021.
I was an assistant coach in Tokyo as well.
So I'm curious how those experiences both impacted you personally, like your own personal excitement and enjoyment of those experiences, and then how it impacted coaching at Indiana.
Well, I'd say that um, I never assumed or really thought I'd ever get to the Olympics. I was like almost approaching 50 years old in 2016, and I was like 49. And um, all of a sudden, Cody Miller and Lily King and Blake Pieroni make the Olympic team, and I get to go to the Olympics and get to experience what that's like. And it's really truly the pinnacle of our sport, and many like it. And then just the blessings kept coming. Getting to be on world championship staffs and another Olympic, staff. I mean, just being around those people like Michael Phelps and Missy Franklin and Ryan Murphy and, um, you know, Kate Ledecky, Caleb Dressel, and those coaches. It just, I was able to bring those experiences and that knowledge and that wisdom back to Indiana, and it led to attracting, even more swimmers. So it just brought us up to the elite level, to where you could look at Indiana now and go, that's one of the best places in the world to train. I don't think you could have done that before, although we were still doing good stuff. You know, there's validation in people winning Olympic medals and setting American records and world records.
Now, was that 2016 team the first international team that you coached with?
It wasn't. I had been a head coach of a short course worlds. I've been a head coach of World University Games, an assistant coach of World University Games. So I had some really good experience in it, and I credit USA Swimming for putting me in the position where I could get it. And that came before, any of that stuff. So although I'd never been to the Olympics, I was well prepared to, as a coach, for our kids to do well, even as a rookie coach. I love World University Games. I think it's one of the most important things that USA Swimming does, and they haven't done it for a while, and I hope it doesn't, come back to bite us.
I like World University Games as well. I like that every in that year before the Olympics, there's a lot more opportunities for people to represent their country internationally.
And coaches need that too. We need to go at these perceived lower level meets like Pan American Games or World University Games and figure things out when the stakes aren't quite so high.
I think that's something people kind of forget about almost, is that the coaches are learning as well. And that it's when a coach goes internationally for their country for the first time or just at all, it's always a learning experience, just like the athletes.
Mm-hmm. I'd be lying to you if, I said it, there were times where I made some mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes, just luckily not, for the most part, not at the Olympic Games, but life is trial and error. But the beautiful thing is when you fail, it's just a temporary state.
So I'm gonna move forward a little bit here. And this is more of a technical question, something about what you guys do at Indiana, and it was another video that I saw while I was trying to do some research for this. I was reading up on how you guys created a cheaper version, or cheaper is a wrong word, a less expensive version of a pulley system for resistance training and a video recording system.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if you could, because I think this is helpful for a lot of coaches, if you could talk about how that first came to be and what was the first what was the first time you realized, oh, this is a much more less expensive way we could do this?
Our pulley system has been around since 2005. And there's those, so power towers or power racks, they're your typical, resisted training type tools. They take up a lot of deck space and they're very expensive. And I had neither money nor space. So I had an assistant coach named Donnie Brush at the time who had experience working with a guy named Randy Reese. That's Eddie's older brother. And Randy had, perfected a pulley system. And it's right in back of me now. And we have 41 stations. And so we started with that. And then, the underwater cameras, I wanted something where you could just set it up and keep coaching. I don't want to film somebody, then pull them out of the water and try to show them stuff, because then what happens to the rest of the group? They get ignored. They're not getting filmed and they're not getting coached. So I wanted something that would do it for me, that then I could, walk around and go, do this, do this, do this, do this, and cover a lot of ground, because I have a lot of ground to cover. And I don't want to just get fixated on just one swimmer here or there. So that's why we created these things. So it lends itself to efficiency. And the great thing about the pulleys is they've had more of a profound effect on technique than power. Technique improves more than the power. They both improve, but wow. And that opened up by having so many pulley stations. We started to do it. We started to experiment. Like, we were the first program to do it like all the time. Before, it was like, you only do this twice a week. And it was like, I'm like, well, why? Why can't we do it 3 times a week or 4 times a week? And our breaststroke group was doing it 5 times a week, and they just kept going faster and faster and faster. So I don't know if there is whatever the perceived limit in doing resisted training, it was there for decades, and now it's gone. And now we do stuff all the time. We do stuff resisted literally every practice, and the kids keep going faster. So I guess that justifies it.
I like that mentality a lot, of it being more efficient and being able to let more people see themselves on video at once. Because definitely when, at least for me as a club swimmer, when we do like recording and my coach was walking along with a GoPro attached to a stick, it was very inefficient, and it took a while to get through everybody.
Yep. So, and then you never want to do it again.
Yeah.
And I talk to kids all the time, and they're like, yeah, I got filmed once last year. And you're not accomplishing anything if you're just doing it that infrequently.
I'm curious on the topic of like resistance while swimming. Do you guys ever use the nets that you attach to your waist and then swim with them behind you?
We use a pocketed drag suit, so it's a drag suit with pockets all over. We use it's a kilt. So somebody just sent us. It goes on like a kilt, but it's a lot less resistance. So we got lots of toys. I mean, lots of toys, and we use them. We use them all. I mean, right now I've got metal paddles. They're weighted. It's a weighted paddle. I don't know if I'd use them with little kids, but it just it helps you with your catch. I'll try anything, and we have swimmers that allow us that latitude.
I think especially mentalities like that and coaches like that in the past 10, 15 years, it made it a lot more common to be trying new things and often to be successful in trying those new things. So that kind of leads me perfectly into this question. You got a lot of good segues here. I'm curious about your style of coaching when something doesn't go the way that you expect it to. So if you try a set and it doesn't work, do you then either completely scrap it and then try something new, or do you try to rework it and see if it works better?
So I like the whole peer coaching philosophy. So I may be in charge here, but by no means am I the creator of everything. And the kids, um, we'll try something new, and I'll say, hey, I want to know everybody's opinion, and they know that they can rip me if they want. I mean, I try not to like call me names or anything, but like if it sucks, it sucks, and tell me the truth. Like I like directness, so sometimes we'll just scrap it entirely, or they'll go, "Hey, I understand what you're trying to do here, but let's try it this way." And they're great, and they have some great ideas. So it's a partnership, and everybody's playing a role. So, and sometimes I'll have a really good practice, and we'll audible and go in a different direction. It happens all the time, and the kids know that they can make suggestions. I might not say yes all the time. I might say no. I've got a reason I want to do this, but more often than not, I go with their suggestions because they're smart and they're the ones doing it. They're in the water, so it's a little of all of that happens in creating innovation. And swimmers are the best place for innovation. Coaches may get the credit for that, but the swimmers are the ones that really help us create that new idea.
I think that's something that's at least nowadays mostly lost on coaching athletes as they get older is how important peer coaching can be. Because I use it a lot as a club coach when I'm coaching younger athletes, but I definitely think it's still a very valuable thing that you can use especially as you get older and
Yep.
are around people who you can, at least as you get older, you can talk to them in a way that isn't, I guess, negative. Because sometimes when I'm coaching like 6, 7 year olds, they can be like, "You suck at this." But especially college athletes can be a lot more constructive with their feedback.
Yeah. And like, for example, a crossover turn is really hard for people to learn. But man, if you have a swimmer teach another swimmer how to do a crossover turn, they pick it up much more rapidly. So I use it all the time. All the time.
It's I might have to tell that to my college coach.
No, it's really, really profound. I try to do it. Well, like, so we have all these underwater video cameras and they cover 2 lanes apiece. So like you might be here and there's somebody really good here and somebody really good here. Like you can watch yourself, but then you can watch them too. So you're learning from them, and then you can say, why do you do that with your head position? And they'll be like, well, I want to lead with the crown of my head and it's faster. So there's opportunity everywhere. It's all around us. And I just love like a growth mindset where people are open to change and to moving forward and know that you always have to be moving forward. Like I can't every day. I hope I get better because if I don't, I'm going to get caught behind by somebody. That's a certainty.
I think that's definitely especially as a coach and an athlete, it's a mindset that you have to have. Otherwise, like you said, you're gonna get caught behind somebody, or you're gonna start falling behind much farther than you should, or than you ever should.
Correct. Correct.
All right, I got just a couple more questions here for you. So, in the past couple of years, the NIL rights have been a lot more, or they've become available to college athletes, and become increasingly more common. So, I'm curious, as a coach, what's your take on that being more accessible to athletes within the past couple of years?
It really isn't percolating down to swimming. I see a lot of money going into college football, a little of it going into college basketball, and those sports are the ones that fund everything. So it's really not going to get into swimming per se, not enough to change us. Now, can you get it? Can you be a high schooler and sign a suit deal? Sure. But you got to be one of the best swimmers in the world. So the best swimmers in the world are the ones that get the suit deals. And there's just a few of those in college. I'm all for people being able to make money off themselves. But I don't, I think it can do more harm than good. So I'm less enthusiastic about it than maybe a lot of people, because in universities, donors help build new pools or facilities or fund scholarships. And those donors are now giving money to another entity to pay football players, all right, to buy a quarterback. And I worry about track and field, wrestling, soccer, swimming, not getting facility upgrades because the money is going to, the offensive line or a quarterback, and it's really not going to change much. I mean, we are what we are here at Indiana in football. We're never going to win a national title. We'd be hard pressed to ever win a Big Ten title. Yet we're still paying these guys. And what are we paying them for? We should win more if we're going to pay these people, but everybody's paying. And it's just, it means money's going to go elsewhere. It's certainly not going to come our way to help fund what we do. So I'm a little worried about, where will that get made up? So if there's donors, they're donating elsewhere. And I don't, I'm a little concerned about that. So I'm typically an optimistic guy, but with that worries me.
I think that's definitely a perspective that shows the opposite side of things. And that, like you said, the money is going elsewhere and it isn't trickling down to other sports like swimming and other sports that are unfortunately not as well funded as football or basketball.
Yeah.
So sort of my last question for you, and this is as much as you're willing to share, because obviously some goals have to be kept to the chest. Some of them, or a lot of the time, all of them have to be kept unsaid, just for sometimes for people's superstitions or just for their own personal reasons. As much as you're willing to share, what are some of the goals that you have for the team over the next few years, and as well into the Paris Games in a couple of years? Well, in a year and a half now.
Yeah, at the collegiate level, I've been saying this for a long time, and I won't shy away from it. I would love to be a part of a team national title here at Indiana. And, we've come relatively close with a few third place finishes, but be it our women or our men, that's like one of the last things, last major goals that I would like to be a part of. And I'll need help to do it. I need really good athletes to come here and believe in me and trust me. I need good coaches to continue to come here to help make us better. But whether that happens or not, it's still a goal. And on the international side of the coin, I would love to, we put 5 people on the Olympic team in 2020, 2021 for Tokyo. I'd like to continue to have a major impact on the U.S. Olympic team. I'd like some of our international swimmers from other countries to get on the podium and win medals. So just being a part of the continued Olympic movement would be exciting to me, and to be able to do it over a longer period of time. And then, of course, winning Big Ten titles, the majority of the team gets to enjoy that, and that's always really challenging but super fun. So whenever we can win Big Ten titles, we certainly want to do that, and we'd love to try to win 1 or 2 of those this year. And then lastly, I want to continue to grow. I'm hoping to be one of the first coaches to figure out what's next. Like what is next for our sport? What's going to be the big innovation that lets people go even faster? I love watching people swim fast, and
I do too.
I'm more at the end of my career than the beginning, but I still have, you know, I still get super excited, and I have a young approach in that sense. So, yeah, I just want to continue to help people realize their dreams and play a role in that.
So you've kind of made me think of a question here. If you've got the time for it,
Yep.
I'm curious, and you guys have definitely been knocking on the door of a NCAA title for a while now. I remember a couple of years ago going to that final day, Indiana was in the lead. I think it was 2018 or 2019.
Yep.
I'm curious when approaching meets like that, and when approaching like any sorts of big meets, and through your own recruit. This is a pretty broad question, actually. When you're either recruiting or approaching things as a coach, do you approach it in the mentality of I'm recruiting somebody, an individual for the team, or this is a way that the whole team can get better, if that makes sense?
My job is to make Indiana better. So if I can make the team better, everybody benefits from that. The more recognition the team gets, the more everybody gets to enjoy the fruits of those labors. So I don't know, the longer I do this, the less it's about me or certain individuals. And the more it's about just what can we do for Indiana University. And, you need really good people, that are super fast to help you. And it's not always easy to get them here to Indiana. You're in California. Swimmers like to go where it's warm, California, Florida, Texas. I guess that's human nature, but sometimes if you really want to realize your dreams, you have to be willing to go to where the best coaches are. And I really believe we have that here at Indiana. The perception of us is, hey, it's cornfields and flat and super cold and boring farmers, but it's so much more than that. It's like when you come to Bloomington, and I hope you can do that someday, Ahmed, it's a really cool place. And this is like one of the best kept secrets, believe it or not. But, I'd say that's in a nutshell kind of what it's about. So
My cousin's actually there. He goes to school at Indiana. He's been telling me he's been enjoying it a lot.
yeah, nice 4 seasons. So it's a cool place. And, I don't know where your family's originally from, but we've, with Ahmed Hafnawe and Yusuf El Kamash, Marwan El Kamash, Mohammed Sami, Ali Kalafala, we've probably been one of the more prominent NCAA institutions for developing people from the Middle East or North Africa. Sort of the Islamic world hasn't really been known for swimming, but I want to put them on the map, and I think we've done a great job with that. And we even have a swimmer from Israel, and they all get along great. So, like politically, I think sports is beautiful where it can do that. And I love that part of it too. And it happens at a place like Indiana, of all places. So, and I'm very proud of being able to do that.
I was definitely very excited seeing somebody that I share a name with winning an Olympic gold medal.
From Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My whole family was watching with me, and they're like, "What are you talking about? It's the guys in the middle of the pool, right?" I'm like, "No, watch the guy in lane 8."
Yeah, no, you were right, and like one of the greatest upsets of all time, and he's a special kid. So it's good to see him back in action in Knoxville too. So he's having to do an academic year in residence because
Yeah.
like his English and stuff wasn't up up to where it needed to be. But we'll have him next year, and he's gonna
It's gonna be
be
pretty cool watching him in the NCAA system.
he's gonna be great. So and his family's really dedicated to him getting an education. I mean, he's probably got all the money you could ever have, but you're nothing without an education. Like I believe, and his parents and myself, we share those values. So it's a good family.
So I guess my last thing for you is just at the end of every interview, I like to give the people I'm talking to, sometimes it's time to promote like a sponsorship, or sometimes time it's essentially, I'd like to think about it as just your time to say whatever you want.
Well, I'd say this, that if you really want to be a part of something special, get coaching that's world class and that no one else gets, and be in a place that truly values swimming at the highest levels. I mean, like packed houses for dual meets. Come to Indiana. Like I came here from California, and it's the best thing I ever did, best decision I ever made, because they love swimming here. The president and the athletic department. I mean, it's just amazing support, and I've been able to just have a lot of people believe in us, and we need to have the younger generation continue to do that. So I'd put if I want to promote anything, it would be Indiana's cool. It's not boring. It's not the middle of nowhere. It is the cool place to be. It is a hot zone. Like there's this book called The Talent Code written by Daniel Coyle, and he travels the world looking for hot zones of mathematics or golf or music, and Indiana for swimming, Bloomington, Indiana, that's a hot zone where special things are happening. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, and
Thank you for being here.
I wish you the greatest successes moving forward.
Thanks. I know especially how busy you are, like taking time out of your day. I appreciate it a lot.
Well, I think you're going to be really good. You've developed some great questions, so I look forward to watching your career.
Thanks. That's really nice of you to say.